I'm not gonna spend another 5 minutes fucking dancing. Hello everyone, my name is Deckerlink, the trained unprofessional. And welcome back to Tennis Ace. On the last episode, June almost had a fucking heart attack. Whatever the fuck happened. A panic attack. Something was wrong. He was having an attack of some kind. And it was not good. So, shit. But now we're heading home because he can't play piano for the rest of the day. So now, we're gonna hang out with him. So yeah. This fucking song, man. We take a long walk filled with awkward silence. I guess June's enthusiasm died again when he noticed we were walking home alone. My uncalled for touching probably freaked him out a bit. God, am I turning into Shoichi? Finally arrive at what I assume is his place. It's a lot different from what I expected. The house itself is a little smaller than all the others around, and the entire exterior is made of what is seemingly old wood. It gives me an impression that this isn't the most stable of houses. I know this neighborhood isn't very new. Most of the houses here have been renovated and had their exteriors redone. As it stands right now, June's house is probably the oldest in the street. June unlocks the door and opens it. Please come in. The first thing I notice when I walk in is how organized the whole place is. It's completely spotless. Everything looks like it's been meticulously organized and there's not a speck of dust anywhere. Sorry about the mess. Please feel right at home. You call this a mess? You couldn't even consider my house to be livable then. How would that be possible? You live there, don't you? What? Yes, I live there, but he shoots me a quizzical look. The joke's gone completely over his head. June takes off his shoes and lays them down on a small shoe cabinet next to the door. I decide to imitate him. I know it's not polite to pry, but I walk around the living room looking over the whole place in complete awe. Even if the outside looks a bit old, the inside is actually quite cozy. This is a nice place. Oh, I see a piano in the far corner of it. Is that what he uses to practice? I thought you'd have a soundproof room for it. He follows my gaze and his eyes soon come to rest on the piano. June, looking at the piano, already has his expression soften, as if just being near it was enough to make him relax. We don't really have any rooms in this house that we could use to convert into a soundproof room. Also, soundproofing is kind of expensive. Is it? I had no idea. June gently strokes the keys of his piano, looking down at them with visible affection. He must be exercising every ounce of self-control he has to keep himself from sitting down and playing it. I should probably keep him distracted from it. You said you already played all the games you had. Can I see your gaming console? Well, I seem to have snapped him back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Did you calm your ass down? Damn! Wink at me, motherfucker. It's in my room. Follow me. He guides me through a tight corridor leading to a single door. So his bedroom is on the first floor? Once we walk in, June flicks the light switch on, revealing a small, albeit neatly organized bedroom. A simple bed was pushed up against the far wall. There was a few bookshelves with books and a little table with a small TV on top of it. He also had an old, ratty-looking wooden closet right next to the door. Wow, I didn't expect your room to be so organized. Yeah, we don't have much space, so we have to organize as best we can to make everything fit. June is piano-sexual. Well, you're definitely doing a good job of it. My room isn't nearly as organized. And I'm not a messy person. June giggles. His voice as he laughs is bright and full of energy. At least I don't have to worry about him being too down after what happened at the doctor's office. Plus, it's funny seeing his whiskers twitching as he laughs. It's just a matter of getting used to it. You definitely shouldn't come to my house then. This would probably give you a heart attack. Of all the things likely to give me a heart attack, I don't think a messy house is going to be one of them. No, what you fucking were doing earlier was going to give you a fucking heart attack. Point taken. So, where's your gaming system? Ah, right, just a second. He walks up to this closet, opening one of the small doors on the top part. No matter how I look at it, he's too small to reach inside. He's stretching and standing up on his tiptoes to reach. Wouldn't it be easier to grab a chair? Help him! I'm afraid he might hurt himself if he keeps doing this. You could say that reaching into a closet is a very mundane activity and there's no way someone could mess it up, but see what kind of disasters can happen when he's involved. I'm sure something ridiculous and possibly dangerous could happen, so I prefer not to take the risk. Let me. He nods, walking away to give me space to reach into the closet. I also have to stand on the tip of my toes, but I'm actually capable of looking inside the closet to see what's in it. I can see the console in the back of the closet next to a pile of old CDs. I grab it and proceed to pull it out, but I can feel as if I'm tugging something that becomes stuck. The console only moves a little when it refuses to move anymore. Is one of the cables stuck? Try to release it. You don't want to be yanking shit. Can you hold the console a second? I think one of the cables is stuck. Okay. He tiptoes around me and hold the console out of the clothes without it falling to the floor while I still work on the cable. I can feel his body pressing against my sides, but I don't let it distract me. It takes a bit of feeling around inside it, but I eventually manage to grab hold of the cable. It seems to be stuck under a pile of cases. Oh, those are the games. Alright, I'll try to push them away. Right now, the pile's on top of the cable, so I can't pull it out without knocking everything down. I have to tiptoe to try to get good leverage, but after a light bit of pushing and some light tugging, I managed to free up the head of the cable that was stuck between the CDs and the closet's back. Got it. You can get the video game down now. June lowers the console and gets to work on plugging it in. Rutherford-san, if you don't mind, could you get the games for me too? Sure. Grab hold of a moderately sized pile of CD cases and plop it down on the desk next to the console. Okay, good. What the fuck? Okay, good. Why don't you pick something you want to play? I don't have anything for 2 players, though. It's fine. Nah, I've already played all these games over and over. You play and I'll watch. I'm sure it'll be more fun that way. He starts fiddling over the console, double-checking that everything is in order and working properly. Why don't you pick something you like? Don't expect anything grand, though. My console is super old. Take a closer look at it, and sure enough, I recognize it. It's a Ruby 1. I imagine that's a PlayStation 1. This thing went out of production almost 10 years ago. I had one of these when I was a kid. I have many fond memories of its games. Yeah, I like it a lot, too. Haven't played it in a while, though. I wouldn't mind getting an upgrade. Why don't you, then? And before I could see the look on his face, I already knew that I made my mistake. We don't have the money for it. My parents are already working 2 jobs just to pay some personal bills I've piled onto them in the past few years. Ooh, he's going to say medical bills. I know they'd give me anything I asked, and that's exactly the problem. I don't want to put themselves through tough times just to get me things. That's very mature of you, June. Not many guys your age are capable of thinking about others like that. It's good that you're so considerate to them. Guys my age? How old do you think I am? 15, 16? He stares quizzically at me, blinking a couple times. Why? How do I answer that question without hurting his feelings? It's just a hunch I had. June shakes his head in negative. I'm 19! Holy shit! Huh? 19? He's older than me? No way! How can you be 19? You're still in high school. And yet you're perfectly with the idea of a 15-year-old boy being a senior. Well, it's true that wouldn't make much sense. Did you flunk a year then? Well, there were a few personal circumstances last year that forced me to take a year off. Oh no, did you get sick or something like that? Yeah, something like that. I try saying something else, but he picks one game from the pile and quickly puts it in the console. He is really... Fuck! come on, man. Here, try this one. I see the console logo flashing onto the screen as the system whirs itself into life. June hands me the controller and sits on the bed facing the TV. I take a set on the bed and grab the controller. Since the bed isn't particularly spacious, I'm pressed up against him. It's not uncomfortable at all, though. I see the game's logo pop up on the screen and immediately recognize it. Oh, I know this one. I'm a huge fan of this series. June immediately turns over towards me. The move is so sudden that I nearly jump back, and I'm only stopped by the way that gently conks me in the head again. Really? I love this series. It's my favorite. His eyes are almost sparkling with unbridled excitement. Yeah. I have all the new ones at home. You do? He starts doing a few breathing exercises. He's looking like a kid trying hard not to throw a tantrum about something they really want. I can have you over sometimes so you could play them. Actually, scratch that. I'll just lend you my console. Are you sure? What if I break it? Looking at how neatly your room is organized makes me doubt you might somehow break something on accident. Okay, if you're sure. Even though he's trying to act modest about it, I can see his eyes glinting with excitement. I won't lie, it makes me feel pretty good seeing how genuinely excited I can get him. I'm sure. I barely play on my own anyway. You can come to my house and pick it up at any time. Okay, thanks. With all that said, I choose to start my new game. Careful not to overwrite his save files. Yes, so many! And start playing. It's fun how June watches so attentively. He avoids making comments on what I'm doing and just seems to genuinely enjoy watching me play. Who would do something like that? It's also one of the rare occasions where he actually goes quiet without things immediately turning awkward, I mean. I'm surprised you play these kinds of games, June. How so? Well, it's just that they're very story heavy. If you don't pay attention to what's going on, you'll get totally lost, especially with the older ones. I never really considered that. I do love these games, though. They made me want to become a music composer for the game company when I grow up. Final Fantasy. I'm calling it now. Composer? I thought you wanted to become a pianist. He looks away from me. I did, when I was a little younger, but I'm just not suited for that kind of life. After I realized that, I was depressed for a while. I started binging games and I avoided the piano. But these games and these songs helped cheer me up. I wanted to be a composer so I can be involved in games and can cheer people up like they did with me. Wow, that's pretty thoughtful coming from you. I never considered you to be the type to think too deeply about your future. I try not to, but I'm not sure what's going to happen to me down the line. It's really scary. But you also can't run away from it forever. I may not be able to become a pianist anymore, but I've found something else I want to do with my life. I'm happy with that. I'm glad you think of it this way. I'm still surprised, though. It's okay. I've had a long time to think about it, too. Immediately after saying that, he turns his eyes back to the screen and completely zones me out. I don't know if I should consider this as an extreme focus or having no focus at all. Both are troublesome. It's been so long since I've had this much fun playing an old game. I lose myself down a nostalgia trip, looking at all these characters and maps that I used to love, finding secrets that I used to know as a kid. This game reminds me of why I used to love video games so much as a kid. I completely lose track of time as we continue to play. June, sweetie, are you there? I hear a female voice coming from the other side of the door. Is this his mother? Oh yeah, just a sec. I have a friend over. A friend? As soon as June opens the door, I stand up properly to greet whoever's on the other side. Somehow I don't think she'd like to see a strange person, even if it's a guy, sprawled over her son's bed when she knows her son had been there just a few moments ago. Oh my. I'm greeted to the sight of a big, plump tigress with soft, gentle eyes. As soon as she locks eyes with mine, she smiles. Oh, hello there. I'm Jun's mother, Yui Kobayashi. It's a pleasure to meet you. I bow to her. I'm Rutherford Hayes. It's a pleasure to meet you, ma'am. When I look up, I see her fawning at me. Oh, and you're so polite, too. You must be the tennis player Jun talked about then. Wait, Mom! You've been talking about me to his parents, and her mentioning it made him jump? Oh, don't be such a stick in the mud, sweetie. He looks so nice. My husband is a big fan of tennis, too. I'm sure he'd love to meet you. Won't you join us for dinner? Wait, Mom! I don't have much time to respond as she immediately grabs hold of my wrist and starts pulling me to the living room. Jun follows behind, too shocked to say anything. Meeting her is starting to shed some light onto Jun's boisterous personality. Once we get to the living room, I see a burly tiger sitting in a cushion watching TV. Honey, Jun brought a friend over! The man shuffles in his seat, turning to look at us. A friend? What are you... As soon as his eyes fall on me, he freezes. I don't think this is a good sign. Oh, he's a cop. He gets up, standing menacingly close to me, his eyes mere slits. You! Huh? His voice is low, almost like a growl. Well, I guess we know whose fucking voice he's getting. It's enough to make me shiver to my core. Doesn't help that he looks pretty strong, and is that a police cap he's wearing? Sir. Oh no. Jun mutters something under his breath. His father lifts up both of his arms. I instinctively close my eyes and lift my own arms to cover my face. You're him! You're really him! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Oh, Jesus. Look at this fucking family. The man wraps his arms around me and begins to squeeze me incredibly hard. What? I'm Sushi Kobayashi. It's such a pleasure to meet you. Oh my god, I can't believe you're actually him. It's a pleasure too, sir, but could you please let go? You're hurting me. Oh, sorry. I guess I got a bit too excited. His laugh is so loud that I swear I can feel stuff rumbling around us. My first instinct is to reach up and cover my ears, but I don't want to be rude. Sorry, I'm a bit overwhelmed. Who am I supposed to be? Dad's a big tennis fan. He's been following your career for the past 5 years. Kept tabs on every single one of your matches. I think he even has most of them on video. Wow, that's fucking creepy. You don't have to tell him. I mean, I preferred to have this told to me. Otherwise, I'd assume your reaction just no now is how you treat all of your son's friends. In which case, you'd come out looking even weirder. I can't believe you're actually him! When my son told me he met a tennis player named Rutherford Hayes, I thought for sure it was some happy coincidence. I didn't think for a second. He smacks his fist on his palm without finishing his sentence, runs to his entertainment center, where he takes a VHS tape. VHS, huh? Talk about old school. Pops it into the VHS player, and eventually the image comes up on the screen. I immediately recognize it because the one on screen is me. This is you? And this is also you? His eyes keep going from the TV to me, and he keeps making extravagant gestures in childish excitement. When I look over to see Jun, who's standing next to me, he looks completely horrified. Dad, please, settle down. Sorry, I guess I get too excited. It's just, I can't believe Rutherford Hayes is standing in my living room. What are you even doing with my son? I never thought he'd be able to make friends with an athlete. Thanks for the vote of confidence. I guess every kid is embarrassed by their parents at times. It's universal. It's weird how incredibly similar he is to his parents, though. Frighteningly so. Well, Jun-kun is very fun to hang out with, even if he's a little overwhelming at times. Still, he's a nice guy. We like having him around. Wow, this is just, wow! Still, why would you follow me? Anyway, I'm not even a professional player yet. I know it'd probably be much more exciting to watch professional matches. Not at all! I love seeing diamonds in the rough. And to be honest, we've never had really talented players in Japan before. You're carrying the hopes of our nation as a player. You're certainly the best. Why wouldn't I follow you? Well, I'm not the best. Not really. Can't compete with with other players in the major leagues, and even in my own league, I still can't get number 1. Tanabe is the best player. If you want to root for someone, it should be him. Kobayashi Sr. groans, rolling his eyes.
Ah, yes, Tanabe is technically the superior player right now, but I honestly believe you're more talented than he is. Plus, his game completely lacks passion. It's like watching a chess match. Seeing him play is so boring. You, on the other hand, always gets me on the edge of my scene. Every play with you is filled with anticipation. You don't hold back. You don't go for the safe option. You just see what you have to do and you go at it.
June's mom places a hand on her husband's shoulder, calling his attention. Honey, I understand you're excited, but please settle down, okay? You're overwhelming our guest.
Oh, right, sorry.
Thank you. By the way, honey, I've invited Hayes-kun to have dinner with us. Would you please help get things ready? Wait, June leans over to my ear and whispers at me. Just give up. Once she gets something in her head, there's no changing her mind. She'll hold you hostage if she has to. That's very disturbing. I really hope he doesn't mean that in a literal sense. Well, at least let me help, then. I can cook. Such a polite young boy, but that's nonsense, sweetie. Just play around with June. Everything's almost done. I was going to tell him dinner would be ready in a couple of minutes anyway. By the way, June, honey, I stopped by that dinner you liked and picked up some okonomiyaki for dinner. I know you'll love it. But Mom, that place is super expensive. It's not a problem. I wanted to cheer you up after your
Mom, that's okay. Thank you. We're going back to my room now. Bye.
Before I even noticed what's happening, June started pushing me back to his room. I didn't even know he could move this fast. After the door is closed and locked, he lets himself slide down to the floor, burying his face in his knees. Oh God, I'm so sorry you had to see that. My parents tend to be a bit much. Don't worry about it. I'm used to it already. You've given me quite a test run after all. Sorry about my dad in particular. He means well, but he tends to get way too excited about tennis. I hope he didn't creep you out. Not at all. Although I'm really not all that your dad makes me out to be. That's not true. I mean, I haven't been watching tennis for all that long. I kind of stayed away from the sport just because it was embarrassing being around Dad when he's like that. But I really think you're amazing. I really like watching you play. I feel like I get to see a Rutherford son that I can't see anywhere else. Aw, thank you. I like seeing you play the piano too. You're really different when you play. I like that. I am? How so? Well, you're a lot more focused when you're playing. What? That's not true. I'm always focused. This family's severely lacking in the self-awareness department. Still, you should probably get yourself ready for a barrage of questions, though. I'm sure Dad will make the dinner table conversation all about you. Really? Alright then. What did I get myself into? Dinner was pleasant enough. Yuri-san made a bunch of delicious side dishes to complement the okonomiyaki. Okonomiyaki, there you go. Which was also quite fancy too, not the kind you'd find in any regular food cart. Like June said, though, his dad hit me with question after question about tennis. If it was already hard keeping up with one June, now having to deal with two people like him was just... I am exhausted. Right now I'm walking back home, trying to recharge a little. Are you sure you won't get lost? I can go all the way to your house if you want. Of course, June insisted on accompanying me part way for fear that I'd get lost, even though I've lived here for years. You don't have to. Seriously, don't worry about it. I live nearby anyway. Yeah. Again, sorry about my parents. I hope they didn't make you uncomfortable. They definitely did with me. No, far from it. Your parents are different, but they're really nice people. I feel a little jealous of you. I wish my family were like that. Is there anything wrong with your family? Well, my father isn't around anymore. Mom had to go back to work when we were little to be able to provide for us. At first, it was really hard for us. She kept having to juggle two or more jobs all the time, and she'd always be exhausted. She never had time for us back then. I basically raised Aki on my own. It was hard to make it work, especially because my training hours were very short when I first started playing, but we managed. Mom eventually got a well-paying job at a law firm, and things have been stable for us for a while. Still, I sometimes miss having a dad. Don't remember much about him. When I first realized I couldn't remember my dad's voice anymore, it was difficult. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know your father had left you guys. Left? Ah, I see. He misunderstood me. Well, I guess I'll let it slide. Don't want to make him upset, let alone feel guilty about bringing it up. Nah, don't worry about it. I made my peace with it a long time ago. Plus, since I've always spent so much time with Aki, the two of us are very close. Not many people can boast about having such a close relationship with their brother. Yeah, it must be nice. It must be nice. It must be nice to have such a good relationship with your brother. Having a brother, I mean. I was always an only child. Mom and Dad didn't actually plan on having me. I remember my grandmother letting it slip one day that I was an accident. Mom was beyond pissed with her. As far as I know, Dad got fixed after I was born, so they wouldn't have any other children. Still, they've always been taking really good care of me, and they always make sure that I have everything I need, even when that means they didn't. It makes me feel really guilty sometimes. That's what parents do, stupid. Even if you really feel bad about it, then make sure you make something out of yourself. I'm sure your parents just want you to be happy. Yeah, you're right. We reach an intersection. June stops walking and I follow suit. He keeps staring at the ground, not saying anything. Eventually he looks over at me very shyly. Thanks for keeping me company. I thought I'd just spend the day feeling lonely and bored, but it turned out to be very fun. Thanks a lot, Rutherford-san. I think I almost catch a hint of a blush before he turns to look away. He brings a smile to my face. Any time, June. If you ever need something from me, don't hesitate to ask. He nods. I'm going to get back home before Mom and Dad start worrying about me. I'll see you tomorrow, Rutherford-san. See ya. We wave goodbye to each other, and June jogs his way back home. I watch his back fade away from my sight, thinking over how pleasant today was despite everything that happened. April 11th. April 11th. A werewolf. Morning. Who's he saying morning to? We'll find out in the next episode. Thank you all very much for watching, and until then, ladies and gentlemen, I've been the trainer of business looking for the voice in my head when I say until then, fairly well bye. Yeah, I know how to do outros. Shit.